Paul, if you hate the game so much, why don't you just stop playing it and go and do something else instead of crying? I'm actually doing another one of these videos. This time, honestly, I'm done. It's been way too long. For me, Gears is dead now. It does not matter what they do to Gears of War. I'm just not really going to be enjoying it anymore. I cannot see me ever having the motivation I used to have for Gears. But I often get asked why I complain so much. If I don't care, why do I still put the time in? That is actually a really good question. And my answer is, I really don't know. I want to like it, I guess, but I just can't. But if I can't like it, then why do I still care? I don't know. I cannot answer that question. I really have no idea. I've done videos in the past where I've typed out a script, I read from it, and I sound absolutely ridiculous because I don't know, multitasking, reading and talking, that seems like it's too much for me. So this video, I've made some points, and I'm just going to talk. I'm going to talk over some of the points I made, and I've actually gone through, got quite a bit of evidence. Should we call it evidence? I don't know if that's the right word. Proof to support my claims. That's better. And I really want to open some eyes with this because I am actually quite tired of hearing people telling me that the things I'm saying are wrong. Yes, people are entitled to opinions, but what I'm going to present, it's going to have a lot of facts in it and statistics that a lot of people don't even bother to go and have a look for before they start talking utter drivel on the internet. And I cannot believe how bad Gears has become. Where do I even begin? I feel like I probably should start this video off with story time to get that out of the way. I got my Xbox 360 for Christmas 2008 going 2009. I got the bundle of Gears of War 1 and Gears of War 2. Those were the first games I ever played on an Xbox. I was horrendous. I started on Gears of War 2 because I thought, you know, it's number 2, that'll be the better one. So I got into that. I played the campaign, as I'm sure every new player does. And then I went to Horde, because again, that's easy. And then I thought, you know what, I'm paying for Xbox Live, let's have a little look at the multiplayer. That didn't go that well. I thought to myself, okay, there's a machine gun, that must be good, let's use that. I didn't even know it was called a Lancer, really, I just used a machine gun. And I kept dying, and I died again, and quite a few more deaths, and I died. And then after that I died again. And I just didn't understand what the hell was going on. And I started playing with a friend I knew, and he told me to have a look at the shotgun. So I did, and I died. And I died a lot more because I just didn't know what I was doing. The Lancer, back then, it wasn't really very easy. You weren't going to do anything with it. And then trying the Gnasher, back then, it took a lot of skill. And at the time, I just did not have that. And whilst I don't have my stats now, I must have gone negative 1,000, but I was determined to pick it up. I didn't have many games to go and play. I wanted to get the hang of that. It was new, and I knew I just wasn't very good at it. So I stuck at it, and in time, I improved. I started to learn about all the movement and all the things that these other players knew that I didn't know. And it was so satisfying when I was able to implement that into my game. It was brilliant. And I actually think the improving was more fun than the game itself. I went to then Gears 1, and I was terrible at that. It just felt so different to me. And whilst I'll never say Gears of War 1's a bad game, because it's really not, it's just not my style. I started on Gears of War 2, and I liked the fact that it was a bit faster. So I'm not going to talk too much about Gears 1, because my experience on that is limited, but I recognise the skill involved in Gears 1. Then Gears 3 come out, and I absolutely hated that at first, and I maxed out so many Horde medals for Onyx, before even touching the multiplayer, because I absolutely hated it. I couldn't stand that they'd made the hammer burst the way it was. I couldn't stand the idea of the retro and sword off. I just didn't understand why they'd added those easy things in. Like, why would they do that? So, after I'd done out with the Horde, I thought, you know what, I like Gears at this point. It's been a couple of years of playing. I've improved. Let's give the multiplayer a try. So I did. And in time, I picked up a play style that's just, I don't know. I thought I was good, but I really wasn't. I was absolutely awful. And without naming people's names, I'm going to try and leave that out, I met a couple of competitive players who pretty much lived on GB. And I didn't know what GB was. I was more interested in the montaging side of it at that point. I was in AE, and that was my focus. I was interested in improving though, because I remember how much I improved on Gears 2 and how much I enjoyed that. So Gears 3 comes along, I've met these competitive players who they are absolutely slaughtering me consistently in 1v1 matches, and I didn't understand what I was doing. I was roadie strafing around the place. I thought at that point that took skill, because in public matches against casual players, it was dominant. Against good players, I couldn't land a shot on them, and they just hit me every single time. And the most frustrating part of that was being laughed at in the middle of a 1v. I'll never forget that. And that was what pushed me to be like, okay, this isn't gonna work. There must be something more skillful. Let's learn. And I thank them so much. Those players, they helped me. They took the time and showed me where I was going wrong. So I had to unlearn everything I once knew to pick up this more improved play style. So I did. I stopped doing that ridiculous roadie strafing, and I started to practice on wall bouncing, all the wraparound stuff. Like, people don't necessarily like that. Some people do, some people don't. It's a grey area. But in my opinion, I enjoy doing it, but I recognise it is an exploit. That's a different topic I'll come to later. I felt that it was a skill. Like, reaction shots, wraparounds, up A's, back A's. It was different to what I was doing, so I felt that I was improving. And it went from me losing 10-0 every single 1v1 match to me getting a couple of rounds, to actually getting close matches, to actually winning some, and the satisfaction of beating those GB players who at one point were laughing at me was brilliant. And again, the satisfaction wasn't coming from winning really, it was coming from knowing that I had improved. The game hadn't helped me, I helped myself. That, in my opinion, is where Gears of War now, it's just gone completely downhill. My last video, I did go through, I'm not going to do it in this, but I went through video footage from the Coalition, like both streams and videos, and Rod himself said that they were considering new players that hadn't been playing for a long time. Now, in that, he did state that they'd added arcade for it, but I just felt that Gears 4 as well was more for the new player, and Gears 5 just doubled down on that. And the fact he said that in that video, to me, I felt like it was everything. It was throughout the whole game. But trying to tell people that, they don't see it, or they don't want to see it because it's helping them. And you know what? That makes sense. But that doesn't mean it's good. That, I think that is what's killing the game. So I've gone from all of that learning curve from Gears 1 to 3, getting the satisfaction from that, to have to unlearn those things for Gears 4 and 5, but not for a reason to improve. I'm having to unlearn those things because if you do them on, or it feels like if you do them on Gears 4 and 5, they won't work and you'll get punished for trying to do it. It feels like Gears 4 and 5 artificially limit you. And to me, that's ridiculous. So I feel that Gears 4 and 5 have been aimed towards new players. And Gears 4, that was, not including Ultimate Edition because that was Gears 1 really, Gears 4 was the first Gears, new Gears, on the Xbox One. I understand why they want to aim for new players. It's a business, they want more customers. Because Gears 3, well, I'm going to exclude Judgment as well, so Gears 3 was the last proper Gears on the 360, and the community, it was sound, but it wasn't massive. And I can only assume that the Coalition were concerned that those players wouldn't all flood to Gears 4. So they had to try and appeal to new players. As a business, of course, it makes sense. But in my opinion, they have made the games in a way that helps those new players and hinders the experienced players. That is such a bad thing to do for more than one reason. One, that is absolutely unfair to the people that have spent literally years practicing and improving at Gears of War. Two, the new players, they are going to start playing, learn those new, easier techniques, the things that you've assisted them with, and they are going to continue doing that because that works against experienced players. Or they're going to try something that we're all doing because they can see that, get smacked, and give up. So, I don't really know how to explain this. The concern is people giving up, but assisting them to winning, they're going to give up anyway. Because all that's going to happen, they're going to play for a bit, get whatever little enjoyment they're going to get out of all these assists, and move on to a different game anyway. You're not, in this day and age, you are not going to bring in new die-hard fans like you used to get with the legacy games. That is never going to happen. Sure, you're going to get people that enjoy the game and come on it a little bit, but you're not going to get players dedicating their lives pretty much like what they did on Gears 1 to 3. That's never going to happen. So if you're appealing to those people, don't expect them to be long-term players. Or, the flip side of that, which does actually contradict myself totally, the players are going to stick on Gears using only those new assisted techniques, and because they are easy, they are going to absolutely dominate. So with that, they are going to push away the experienced players who feel that it's absolutely unfair that these new ride against them, and they're getting closer matches or even wins when they don't deserve to be. Or they're going to go up against these new players that are newer than them, continue to abuse these easier features, and push them away from the game. So you're not going to grow the game at all by doing that. There's absolutely no reward for improving or even trying to improve this game, because there's nothing to even improve on. There really isn't. You can't improve when you're using an assisted technique. That's my story. Honestly, I could talk about that for another 8 hours, but I'm not gonna, because I've got points I want to go over in that. But I think that is a key area as to where Gears is going downhill massively. There's been quite a few times when I've been debating like the ease of Gears, the way it's been going so easy for new players, where the people have said that it's the same for everybody, it's an even playing field, we all have the same mechanics, all the same weapons, it's fair. That makes sense, and it's annoying that that makes sense, but it's also really annoying that they don't understand the point from the other side of it, from the experienced player. Whilst yes, it is completely a level playing field, we've all got the same things, the same mechanics. We have mechanics limited, or they have mechanics assisted, that we feel, but they absolutely do not. And it's hard to put into words, but I wanted to get some video footage to try and support what I mean by that. So, before Gears of War 4 was released, it was in my last video, the Coalition, they themselves in a tips and tricks video referred to wall bouncing as an advanced technique. Okay? So to me, that's a skillful piece of play. So, why have they punished, shall we say? I want to use that word because that's what it is. Why have they punished people for wall bouncing? What do I mean? Well, have a look at this. I know it was added late into Gears 4, it's not new to Gears 5, but it still stands. The health regeneration while wall bouncing. I know that recently, like with the last few days, it was said on stream that this is something they're going to be removing, and that's great. But they have knowingly put this into Gears 5. They knew that they were doing it, it's not just a new thing. So I'm still going to include it in this video because it ties into the whole making it easy for new players. Have a look at this. This is 5 seconds, or a little bit over 5 seconds, of healing. So one of them will be stood still. So this is how you would regenerate your health if you had a standing still, bot walking, roadie running, strafing. This would be your timing. Or this would be how much you recover, rather. And then afterwards, you'll see health regeneration while wall bouncing. I don't claim to be the best bouncer, but I give it a go. Have a look at the difference, how much they are punishing you for wall bouncing. Now, please keep in mind that wall bouncing, it's meant to be an evasive technique to avoid shots. Have a look. Are you honestly telling me that a brand new player or a below average player is going to notice the effects of that? Absolutely not. But look at what the experienced players getting hit with. I know that when this was introduced, it was said that the best bouncers will know when to wall bounce, when to use normal strafing, all that sort of stuff. I don't buy that for 1 minute. I believe that is a way to punish players who can wall bounce, to help new players who cannot do it. Because, to be honest with you, looking at those two pictures side by side, which one would you rather do? Linking into it being easy for new players, this topic, it's something I bring on myself, I know that, but it's something I see mentioned so much from so many people, and it's absolutely not just me. And the counter to it, it's always the exact same as well. I'm talking about the Lancers. I want to say I totally understand the importance of a Lancer in Gears of War. From a competitive view of it, I completely get how it's used, why it's used, when it's used, and absolutely it's an important weapon. It's meant to be a supporting weapon that you use to cover your teammate, or if you need to hold down a part of the map. It's for map control or position control, moving towards a position. What it's not used for, or meant to be used for, is to be a main weapon that you rely on all game, every game, from the other side of the map. That's not what it's for. So I try to judge my answer to people based on what they say to me, because the way it's used, it is very mixed. Some people get it, some people don't. So I'm not going to talk about the competitive players because obviously they get it, but in terms of public, I consider public to be casual throughout. But in that casual scene, you've got real casual players, and I don't know how to word this without seeming horrible, but you might know what I mean. You must know what I mean. You've got the real casual players, and then you've got the casual players who stick to public and only ever play public, but they're good at the game. They understand the game. Surely you know what I mean by that. So it seems to be the people that are actually good at the game, they understand what I've just said about how it gets used in competitive, and that's how they utilise it in public. Fair enough. No problem with that whatsoever. The casual players, they rely on it, but they do not see the points that I make. I asked a question on social media. I wanted to find out from casual players why they like the Lancer and to try and counter my points to prove me wrong. I'm, again, not going to name names. I said I wouldn't, but I want to read out a reply I got. I'm a casual player, and it's usually the players who use other guns and get killed by the Lancer that are complaining. I use the Lancer a lot because I don't want to think. But yet I know enough to use another weapon at close range and when to use the larger, more powerful weapons. but I'm a casual player who likes to run around and shoot. I know I'm not skilled enough to be at the top of the leaderboard, and that would be the case if I used any gun the majority of the time, because I'm a casual player. So please stop bashing players who use a Lancer. Most FPS and third-person games, I love to use whatever is closest to the machine gun. That's my argument for the Lancer. I read that, and that felt like the most honest response I got. I got quite a few, some made sense, some really didn't. But I like that one, and the thing is, I recognise myself in that. I remember earlier on in the video, I said about when I first started, I wanted to use a machine gun. But the difference is, and the massive difference is, games back then didn't help you. They really didn't. So I couldn't dominate because I wanted to use a Lancer, because I wasn't very good, because it was just, I didn't want to think, to quote. I had to improve or I wasn't going to dominate. It's that simple. But this player, and I really know, that a lot of people share that mindset. They want us to stop complaining about the Lancer because they don't see our issue with it, and they don't want to see our issue with it. It's been made powerful enough, and all the assists have been made powerful enough to help the Lancer dominate, so they don't want to see that change. Quite a long way into the video now, and I've not actually supported anything in terms of how I'm saying that the Lancer's easy. Okay, let's change that. Let's have a look just what the Lancer in Gears 5 can do. Okay, so what does that even prove? Well, it shows that there's no damage fall off over distance for one, and it's just a bunch of numbers there showing us how many bullets. Slowed down like that, you can't really get a sense of how long that would take in an actual game. So let's just test that. Okay, I think that actually shows us something a little bit clearer. Headshots, the 9 bullets, that can down in 0.901 of a second. That number haunts me, I'm sure of it, because that, if I remember correctly, was the Gears 4 timings as well at launch. Then body shots, 11 bullets, 1.168 of a second. Okay. But look a little bit more at that though. The difference of it is only 0.267 of a second. That is so fast. But that's the difference between body shots, which I'm sure we can all agree is easy, and headshots, which is supposed to be the more rewarding of the two. Quarter of a second? Come on. I want you all to try and remember those timings, because I'm going to move away from it slightly, but I'm trying to show a few things at once to then make a point at the end of it. So now I want to have a little look at the whole aim assist side of it. So if I'm understanding this correctly, it's been stated that aim assist has been there all along through all the gears, and we're just only now noticing it. I don't have developer kits. I can't see what the developers can see. What I can do, I can go on different games and have a look. So, unfortunately, I actually gave my Xbox away, so as much as I'd love to, I can't go on Gears 1, 2 or 3 to check it out. But I can go on Gears 4 and I can have a look at that. So I did. I would really like everyone to see this. For me, I've got so many points I want to make in this video. This is the part I just want everyone to see. Look at the difference between the Gears 4 and the Gears 5 aim assists. Or if Gears 4 was supposed to have aim assist, from what I'm gathering from the dev statements. Let's see what they're like side by side. Same positions, same maps. I did 2 tests. The one where I'm firing, I did it as fairly as I possibly could, but it was a bit trickier than it probably looks. But you'll see what I mean. So I asked my friend to simply strafe down the stairs in one test, where all I can do is left trigger and what would be recoil control, so pulling my right stick down. I did that on both Gears 4 and on Gears 5. Also, a test was, I asked him to go as close as he could to the wall so he's in a straight line as possible, and I would shoot beside him. Once on Gears 4 and twice on Gears 5. On Gears 5 I did one test with aim assist on and one with aim assist off. Have a look to see if you can see what I can see.
Die.
If aim assist existed in other Gears, I am telling you it was not like that. I would absolutely love to use that one clip alone as my point for Lancer, but I am completely aware that that test, it wasn't 100,000,000,000,000,000,000% accurate, because there was margin of error where I couldn't get the shots exactly at the same place. I couldn't get a friend to walk at exactly the same speed in the same place. That was more to see how the aim assist worked and not to say the Lancer's overpowered. But the clips where it's enabled, you can clearly see on Gears 5, it drags your shots or the crosshair towards the player. All I was doing was moving my right stick up or down. On the clip on Gears 5 where my friend was strafing, look where my crosshair ended up. Are you trying to tell me it was like that in other Gears games? Yeah, the gun might have looked an inch to the side. Yes, maybe magnetism might have brought a bullet or two in a little bit. But it didn't do that. If it did, on a game that I can't test, please can someone show me? Because I don't remember ever seeing that. Does that show that Lancers are easy? I think I'm starting to make a pretty good case for it. But let's make sure I'm right with a little bit more testing. Let's have a little look at this. So, we've seen that the Lancer can down in around 1 second. We've also seen that health regeneration while wall bouncing is near non-existent, so all you really need to do is keep firing in the general direction, and as long as you land 9 to 11 bullets from your magazine, that player's going to go down regardless. And we've also seen that missing's actually quite difficult because with the assist enabled, it kind of does it for you. But let's have a look to see how else it could be made a little bit easier for you. What would make it easier? Perhaps slowing down the player. Let's have a little look on both Gears 4 and Gears 5. There's two marks clearly marked on the floor on canals. How long does it take to walk between them both? Let's have a look to see the strafe speed between the games. Oh, okay. So the strafing speed is a little bit slower. Surely they've kept the Gnasher the same. They wouldn't hinder you like that as well. Oh, come on, Paul. Now you're just picking. They've clearly just slowed the game down in general, haven't they? They've slowed down the movement speed. They've slowed down the fire rate of the Gnasher. They've obviously slowed down the fire rate of the Lancer as well. It's completely fair. Just for clarity, I did that Lancer test based on a full clip to the reload bar. I am completely aware because there's bound to be somebody who checks my test to say, but the bullets ended there, you stopped the timer there, you're cheating. That's not really what I'm doing. The bullets come out at the same speed, and I'm only able to spot it because I'm looking frame by frame while editing, and there's a frame margin between the reload bar. So I'm confident in saying the timings are the exact same. If you want to disagree, go for it. I feel that they're the exact same. So I'm seeing this as the Lancer has not been touched. It's the exact same as the Gears 4 version, which I also said was powerful back then as well, but that's a completely different topic. It's the same as Gears 4, but they've slowed down the strafing speed, so movement's slower. They've slowed down the speed that the Gnasher can fire. They've added the health regeneration delay while wall bouncing, which absolutely discourages wall bouncing. And they've added crazy, absolutely crazy aim assist, which the Lancer will thrive on because it's got a massive magazine. It's not exactly a weak weapon as it is. So the game is slowing down the players and helping other players to hit them with a machine gun. Is it just me seeing this? How I don't understand how anyone can miss all these things combined, making the Lancer feel so powerful. The thing is, I feel that the Lancer tuning would be okay. It actually would. Because it doesn't need to be a gun that does nothing. It absolutely does not. But when you've got things like the regeneration delay in effect, that makes the weapon feel way more powerful than it actually is. When you've got the assist, so it pulls a bullet in for you, that makes it more powerful than it actually is. And when you slow down other things, like movement and other weapons, when you slow those down but don't touch the Lancer, that's just... I don't want to use the word imbalanced. I hate judging Gears on whether it's balanced or not. But if you make a tweak, you have to tweak everything. You can't just tweak one thing. That's the way I'm going to put it. So, what's going on? Are you wanting the Lancer to be dominant? Or are you wanting the Lancer to be balanced? Are you wanting to have assists in place to help people? Or are you just going to combine absolutely everything and punish? I don't like using the word punish, but it really is what it is. Are you just going to combine everything and punish absolutely everybody who wants to use anything but a Lancer? I know how that's completely turned, because I know that there are many players out there who say the meta of Gears is the Gnasher. All people do is run around with a Gnasher. So this is a completely different topic now, and I'm going to go into it slightly. Yes, public play, in my opinion, is casual play. It's not to be taken too seriously. In the past, before Gears 4, I'd jump on Gears and I'd just go in it for the shotgun battles. I'd be trying to enjoy myself. If I won, I won. If I lost, I lost. I didn't care. If I come against a player I didn't like, yeah, I'd try a little bit harder. I'm sure we all did. But if I lost, I didn't care. I wouldn't totally change how I play just to win. What's the point? I do not understand. I am going to carry on where I just left off, but that's a different topic that I will move on to. But I feel like, wow, we're about half an hour in already. I feel like everything I just showed and talked about, that's my opinion as to why it's not really a level playing field, because there are all these things in place. Some to help new players, and some to punish experienced players. Now, again, it does stand that the experienced players could use those techniques as well. Of course they could. But experienced players aren't going to suddenly stop everything they've been learning over a decade or more and start playing like a bot. They're not going to start sitting behind a wall Lancer in 5 minutes. They're not going to start bot walking around the place. Why would they do that? It makes no sense. So, the play style, then, that's what is hindered. So, it's not an even playing field, because again, I'll say it again, the newer players, or the less skilled players, they cannot even comprehend some of the things that experienced players can do, let alone know how to do it. But we know exactly how to do everything they do, but we don't want to stoop that low. Is that mean? I don't really care if that's mean, because that's what it is. That is exactly what it is. But the thing is, the game's been made in a way that helps those people. But those people cannot see that. They cannot see that they're being helped. They cannot see that we're being limited. So that's just not fun for experienced players whatsoever. We don't want to play this for that reason. This next topic leads on for what I was talking about a couple of minutes ago. I have nothing to support this. This is completely my opinion, but hear me out. It's probably going to turn into a bit of a ramble again. I want to talk about something that was introduced in Gears 4, and that's the ranks: Bronze, Silver, Gold, Onyx, Diamond, and now Masters as well. I think they are just an awful idea, but that's not TC's fault. I think it was a brilliant idea on TC's part, it really was, but it's not TC at fault here. It's absolutely the player base at fault. Why? Because, in my opinion, I don't think I'm wrong, but I'm just going to say in my opinion just in case I am. I think that the ranks were implemented as a way of doing two things. One, to see how you stack up against everybody else, to learn your true skill. And two, so that can be used in terms of matchmaking. I'm going to keep out the whole aspect of that not working. That's really not a dig, but I'm just going to leave that out. I want to look at how it makes people play. I don't think many people would like to realise that they can't progress out of silver or gold. I wouldn't be best pleased if I couldn't. Personally, I don't care about what rank I get, but I know a lot of people do, and those who place lower often want to be higher. Now, you could say that's encouraging them to improve at the game. Okay, but it doesn't know. Because, as I've already covered in this video, I feel that the game has an easy way of doing things. So, a lot of these players, and I see it on social media where these players specifically go looking for 5-man Lancer stacks who must communicate and cross. They know what they're doing, and they do it because they want to reach Diamond on Gears 4 or Masters on Gears 5. They want the easy way to get that rank. But not only is it daft that they want to abuse an easy way, but even if those players who should be silver or gold, even if those players are able to get Diamond or Masters, they are not being ranked correctly. That does not reflect their skill. They're doing that for a symbol in-game and an in-game weapon skin. What that's doing is placing them totally incorrectly, so that as soon as they get out of that team that they're playing with, as soon as they stop using the easier techniques in the game and start trying to play the game properly again, they are going to be in Diamond or Masters lobbies against other real Diamonds and Masters, and they're not going to know what to do. They will not be able to compete. So they are going to be in a match where they are absolutely outskilled, and they are going to drag that team down, which is absolutely unfair on the real Diamonds and Masters in that game on their team. And that's going to continue to happen as they tumble down all the ranks, all the way back to where they should be, silver, gold, onyx, whatever that would be. So that's not going to be very enjoyable for the players who are on those high ranked teams, having that player on their team. And I see it a lot about people complaining about having bad teammates. Is that a reason? Maybe, I don't know. But it can't be very much fun for that player falling down back to the ranks to go to where they should be anyway. So there's no fun for that player, no fun for his teammates, and given that those players often abuse the easier mechanics in the game just to obtain that rank, it's no fun for the people that they've been playing against to get to that rank anyway. So whilst I completely like the idea of why the ranks were put into the game, it's the players that make it absolutely awful, and they should be removed for that reason, because they ruin the game. They completely change how people play, and it misranks people based on how they play. So all that's doing, in my opinion, is ruining the experience for absolutely everybody any one of those players come in contact with, whether teammates or opponents or even themselves. So what could they do in place of ranks? Well, I know my favourite was Gears 3. I do like how Gears 3 did it. It had re-ups, it had an XP system, and whilst yes it had a ranked mode, that was more just if you wanted a 5v5 sweat. So most people would stick to Quick Match. Quick Match was able to track all your stats for you, just as people want. It had all the unlocks and challenges linked that could be unlocked in Quick Match, and there was no real incentive to play like you were at esports to win. You went in and it was a weird, I cannot explain, it was a weird experience of, you could have a competitive moment with a couple of people in game, but it was casual at the same time. I cannot explain that. If you've played and know what I mean, you know what I mean. If not, that sounds ridiculous, but it was competitively casual at the same time. It didn't matter if you won or lost, you did not care. But now, people play like their lives depend on it, and I personally, I can't grasp it. I think it's weird. And I know people will come back with the argument, it's a game, I play it to win. Okay. But if I'm going to come back with, if winning's that important, why don't you go and try and do that against like-minded people in GB? No one ever answers that part. But you've got people here trying to play for fun in public who, if they wanted a sweat, they'd go on to GB They don't want to be doing that. They just want to play for fun. But they're coming up against these people trying and trying and trying, utilizing easy weapons and techniques in the game, trying to boost their ranks to where they shouldn't be. So it's not much fun. It's just absolutely not fun. I think, I've not even answered my own question, so I think that to replace ranks, they should have just the old XP rank that we used to have. And this is a weird one. So the unlocks that come from the challenges in Gears 3, if you played, you know. I can't put it into words, but if you know, you know. It's actually one of those things. They felt like you earned them from Gears 3. They took a long time to get. Some took a grind, some didn't. But they were so unique. You know, if a player had something, you knew exactly how they got that. Like, oh, that's cool. So, with Gears 5, or in my opinion, they do seem to have listened to a little bit of feedback in terms of the unlocks. They have added challenges in. I like that. But I don't like how they've done it. I feel... I don't want to go down the route too much. I really don't. But Microsoft Store, I don't like the fact things that can be bought. I hate that. It feels like things are linked to that way too much. And not too much towards challenges and unlocks. So I think they should make specific challenges that are there permanently, kind of like the Gears 3 challenges were, that don't run out after the end of the season or the operation, that you can grind away at. And yes, make them take a long time. Don't make them easy just because people don't want to put time in. Make it take time to earn. Make some of them difficult to earn. Make things that I can't do. I don't know. Beat every escape map on master difficulty, whatever. I don't know. Make them hard. Like, I don't want to be able to earn everything because that just seems a little bit easy. There should be things that other people can do that I can't, and vice versa. Different people unlock different things, and if they can't do it, okay, work towards it. Try and improve. Don't just make meaningless things in the unlocks, because as much as I like the idea that you've listened to the Tour of Duty, it's really missing the point where it means something. Now, I know I'm getting off topic, but I'm going to tie it all up. I think that part of that is because a lot of the characters in Gears 5 now, they have no real identity. In Gears 1 to 3, you had the campaign characters. They all meant something to the story. Now, we've got Halo, we've got the Terminator, we got, what's his name, Johnny, Jeff, Joseph, I don't know, whatever his stupid name is. Who's that? Who, in their right mind, I don't even know how you get them, but who in their right mind, if that was linked to a difficult challenge, is going to be trying to improve to unlock Joe, whatever. No one. Like, you see it in game, and it's like, who the hell's that? You're adding too much content to Gears that it's just meaningless. Just putting a random cog in the game and giving it a name doesn't make it Gears related. Make it linked to the story somehow. Make it linked to Gears of War somehow. I'm going to get off the whole idea of DLC and that, but that's something, in my opinion, that's just made the whole game have no real identity. It's just, nothing means anything anymore. But to go back to how I'd replace ranks, I'd replace them with a good challenge system. I'd replace them with a proper XP system. And if people want to earn something, have them earn that, rather than a rank that changes how they play. I would also say, if you are, I'm not saying you're going to, but I'm just going to say, if you do something like that, absolutely separate the XP ranks. Have a rank for multiplayer and versus, have a rank for escape, have a rank for horde, because there is nothing more frustrating than having a bad teammate. I really don't think there is. And when you look at that teammate, if we're going to, for example, I'm going to go to social now. Let's say you look on your team and you've got, I don't know, re-up 20, and the bottom of the scoreboard, 0 and 10, you look and think, what on earth is he doing? And you can just see He's got that rank from Horde. Well, that reflects absolutely nothing then. But I don't want to just pick on Horde. I could also use that as a pro for this as well. I don't think I'd be very good at going into Escape on Masters as a versus player. I don't have the strategy, whereas other people do. And I'm pretty sure if I went into a Masters Escape match, I would let the team down. So if I had a high rank from versus going into an Escape lobby, I would probably look just as that other player would have done on my team. So if you're going to have separate parts of the game, separate the XP for them. So again, maybe that could tie into the unlocks, I don't know. Re-up 3 times in Escape. Re-up 3 times in Horde. Re-up 3 times in Versus. Have different unlocks to those parts of the game. And then when people see that character or weapon skin or whatever that unlock would be, they would then know how that player has unlocked that skin and be like, oh, that's cool. And then if they wanted that, they would then have to play a different part of the game. And I know that leads down the rabbit hole of people saying that they don't want to have to do that, but they want the in-game item, whatever it is. Tough. They have to earn it. They don't just get it, and they shouldn't be able to just buy it. Don't even think about letting them buy it. If they can't earn something in a game, then they don't earn it. It's literally that simple. I don't know how else to make that any simpler. If people put time into getting something, give it to them. If people don't want to put the time into it, then don't. They're not entitled to everything. People feel entitled to absolutely everything now. No. Personally, I think that that would be a great way to redistribute your ranking system so it reflected your experience, not so much your skill, your experience. It would also be a good way to sort out your in-game cosmetics and all the characters, weapon skins, how people earn them. People would be a little bit clearer on it, and not everybody would have everything. So personally, yeah, I'd replace ranks with that. I just want to say, this gameplay, I am doing horrendous. Right, that's that part of the way. I've got a few more points I do want to go over in this. The next one, it's a weird one. It's people understanding the game, but not understanding how it works at the same time. Now, what I mean by that, it's people feel there's inconsistencies in areas, or they feel the game does things that they don't think it should. I did see something earlier about the Gnasher feeling inconsistent, and personally, I disagree with that. I think it feels fine now, but I understand why people think it's not, and I'm not going to go into the fact that the tunings keep changing, because I don't think that's the problem too much. It is a little bit, but I think it's more a case of people. How do I word it? But for the sake of the Gnasher, people can maybe think they are in one-shot range when it's just in 4-point range, not quite one-shot. If the other person takes one step, they're in 4-point range. I think that's a sort of inconsistencies where people say it's inconsistencies, but it's lack of understanding. Now, personally, I think I know the difference between one-shot range and 4-point range. So I think if I call something sponging, it's sponging. But inconsistencies and lack of understanding go further than that. And there's things that I don't understand about Gears 5, and I thought I understood Gears of War. I don't understand this. And a lot of it's around the cover. Obviously, I know how to move, I know how to wall bounce. The cover gets me killed so much, and I blame the game so much. But is it the game? I don't know. But I want to play an overlay of my controller, because sometimes at game pace, you can think you've done something when in reality you've done something completely different, and it's actually your fault. So I play with a controller overlay, and I had a little look. This bit of gameplay, I do not understand why the quality is so bad. I'm sorry, but it's only a couple seconds. But it's on Gears 5, and it's playing 2v2 Gnashers. You can see that I back A off the cover, I try and take cover again, and my intention is to be facing the right, like I was, up A around there, and go and kill the other player. What actually happened, I back A'd, for some reason I retook cover facing left, and my up A went completely to the left. Looking at the stick, I did an absolutely minuscule adjustment in the left direction, and personally I don't feel it's enough to go left. The way I killed the guy, I shouldn't have killed him. That's completely ridiculous, but that's not the point I'm making here. So with that, I thought maybe that's just me, but it happens way too much, and I'm convinced it's the game not doing what I think it should be doing. So I had a little look on Gears 4, and I tried to repeat the exact same thing. Just look at the consistency, it does what I expected it to do. I was actually deliberately trying to force my stick to the left there. If you look closely, you'll see it. But it didn't do it. It did what I feel the mechanics of Gears of War is meant to do. Keep looking the way you're facing unless you're deliberately, clearly pushing in the other direction, in which case a little animation should appear where you switch the gun to a different hand, you shuffle along the wall, and you take cover on the other part of the wall. That's what happened on Gears 4, and I'm sure I remember that happening on all of the Gears games. Gears 5 doesn't seem to ever do that. What I find Gears 5 actually does is often take cover facing the complete wrong direction, so you get stuck in a corner. I'll show a clip now. Or you take cover in the very centre, and that getting stuck in the centre, it either feels like you're sticking to the walls, or it just forces you into mantles that you just weren't trying to do whatsoever, and the controller inputs that you were doing match that. You shouldn't mantle, but Gears 5 forces you to do it. I don't understand that. So again, I was recording on Gears 5 when this happened, so I went back to Gears 4 to test, and I'll just put both the clips now. You'll see Gears 5 was the unexpected mantle. Gears 4, I slid to the very end, took cover on the end where you'd expect to, and I was able to up A around that cover. I don't understand why Gears 5 feels different. I have 2 more points left. The next one, I don't know how to say without seeming rude, but there's not really a way to sugarcoat it. Some of the problems, like glitch-wise, bug-wise, that Gears of War has, some of them are totally unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I mean, Gears 4, I'm looking at the PC side of it, the crashing that happened on Gears 4 was a farce. And the fact that the only support that we ever got was to roll back drivers, which, why should we have to unoptimize a whole computer in order to play one game? No, we're paying you, you're the company, you're the one with all the technology, fix it. Every other game can do it. Why do you have such problems with things like that? But let's look at Gears 5. That's played with problems as well. And I want to just look at how other games do things, just simple things, extremely simple things that we've taken for granted for as long as I can think of that we've been gaming. I want you to watch this. No, actually, no I don't. I want you to listen to this. These are a completely random selection of games, just a little bit from each. Have a listen to them. Have a listen to how the audio in the game tries to immerse you into what's going on.
to seek my honor!
You're fourth in your class. One more place and you'll get in the top 3. Well done, Paul. You're leading your class. Weapons free. Bridge secure. Hold your fire. Guys, stay in the berg till we secure the deck. Over. Roger that.
All the way back to 1996 there, we had different games, each had audio to immerse you into what's going on. Obviously, the older you go back, the less it sounds so great, but give it a go. But Gears 5 released 2019. What did the Coalition provide to PC users who use headsets?
Only one kill!
Why is something like that acceptable? I don't understand. It's things like that where people just don't take Gears seriously anymore in terms of it being a quality game. It doesn't, in my opinion, it does not feel like a quality game at all. In the past, I would always recommend to friends to give Gears 1 to 3 a try. I haven't got it in me to recommend anybody try Gears 4 or 5. They're just plagued with problems, and that reputation, that's what's going to impact everything. No one I've just said it, but no one takes it seriously anymore, and that, in my opinion, is going to be one of the reasons why people don't trust you to buy Gears 6. I don't see that doing very well unless there's massive, massive changes soon. And start helping people with problems. Personally, I've not submitted any support tickets, but I had a friend who did it because he literally could not launch the game. So I felt that's quite a priority issue. It took 6 months to even hear back from that. That's a joke. So I don't know what to say to that. How do things like that not get fixed? Glitches and bugs, okay, they happen, fine, but fix them. My last point, and I want to use it to wrap everything up. I watch a lot of the Gears developer streams. I see a lot of feedback on Twitter. I see a lot of feedback on Facebook. I see a lot of feedback on YouTube, and a lot on forums as well. So much of it does agree with each other, so much of it clashes. I absolutely recognise that. And again, I want to leave names out, but if you watch it, you'll know who I mean. Watching a developer stream, a developer stated that whilst one person feels like they could make an amazing game if they use their feedback, someone with massively opposing views also feels the same. I completely get that. I feel like if I was to put my views forward, a lot of people would agree with me and a lot wouldn't. I completely get it. It's definitely there. But the thing is, I'm really guilty of this. I used to say TC didn't listen to the fans at all. I'm holding my hands up now and saying either I'm absolutely wrong, or they've done a massive turnaround and now they really do listen to absolutely everybody, because they do, and I'm seeing it now in the updates that they're bringing out, the communication that they're having with people. It's really good. But this sounds so ridiculous. I used to moan they didn't listen to everyone. Now I'm moaning that they listen to everyone. And at this point, I feel like the Coalition are in a situation where they cannot win. It's literally that simple. If they make a change, it'll please one person and annoy another. And that is never going to change. I feel like, I'm not going to include montage in this because it just makes it all too complicated, but I feel like the game is split into casual players, then you've got your skills casual players that I talked about earlier in the video, and then you've got your real competitive players. None of those tend to agree with each other. If anything, you've got the skilled casual players, they will agree with the competitive players. Personally, that's where I put myself in terms of categories. I consider myself a skilled player who agrees with the competitive players. That's how I see it. But you're never going to get a casual player agreeing with everything a esports player wants. And I highly doubt you're going to get an esports player wanting the game made for someone brand new to Gears if they have to play on that tuning. You cannot do it. Gears needs to keep one tuning. I have no doubt about that, because when on Gears 4, when there were split tunings, I absolutely hated that. But the thing is, the tuning you come up with, it cannot physically please everybody. So what you need to do, in my opinion, moving forward, who is your audience? I don't know. I don't know if you know, but I feel like you need to pick who your audience is, and rather than picking little pieces from different bits of feedback, listen to all the feedback from one subset of players, make the game for those players. If you choose to pick it for a set of players that's not to my liking, okay, just tell the community that's what you're trying to move towards, and I'll just do something else. It's as simple as that. I don't really care enough anymore. I know that sounds weird that I'm over an hour into a video, but to be honest, I don't enjoy Gears anymore. This footage in the game, I had to grind to just get the footage. I was so bored, and it shouldn't be like that. So I don't really care if you make these changes. It's up to you. But I'm making this video for two reasons. One, I really wanted to make a few tests of my own, because I'm constantly in debates with people who say I'm wrong all the time. I'm happy to have got a few pieces of video or footage, whatever. I'm happy to have got that. So for me, I've done a job there. And two, I know that there's people who want Gears to succeed. They want to enjoy it. They try, but it's just so frustrating. So I kind of want to make this video for those people as well, and I hope, I can't see anyone sitting to this length of a video, but hopefully they do, and hopefully change can come of it for those people. But for me, I'm not really interested in Gears anymore. I've both grown out of it, and I feel like it's just not been enjoyable for too long. I'm at the point where I'm past care and playing it now. But I don't know, maybe something can come of it. I can't believe it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I started this at 7 o'clock last night. But that's over an hour long. Oh my god. I'm going to wrap it up. I don't even know what to say to it. Like, Gears, it's moving in a good direction, I feel now. Some of the things we're hearing from the Coalition, it's really promising. I feel like, this is going to sound like we're getting negative again, but I feel like they're slowly starting to move towards what they have known the community wanted, but I feel like it's too late. And I say that because I'm trying to avoid going too close to it, but I will touch on it. I feel like the Coalition knew exactly what the community wanted in bulk, because in Gears 4, the 2.8 beta received brilliant feedback, and then Gears 5 released, and it was like they've forgotten all of it. So to me, I'm going back to the very start of the video now, when I was talking about things being made easier for new players. I feel like that was done purely for sales, and now I feel like most of those people have gone. They are looking at the numbers, the player base. They're trying to see, okay, what can we do now to bring back all the experienced players again? And the answers aren't going to change from what we got from Gears 4. That's what majority of players want, they're experienced. But the thing is, it's all well and good them listening now, but Gears 6, whenever that comes out, are they just going to do it again? Make it completely new player friendly at first? When it starts to die off, they're going to be like, oh, experienced players, what we doing? No. If people are going to give you solid feedback, spend hours upon hours giving you feedback, constructive feedback, stats that is thousandth of a second, just so you can look at points we're making, at least listen to it. Don't just disregard it. Keep crawling to us for feedback, which you're clearly asking for on a stream. You stated you want feedback on your stream. If you want feedback and we give you feedback, listen to it. Don't just disregard it when you want to make money on a new game. Because, to be honest with you, this is the last time I'm doing it. I'm not doing it. I know other people have given up on Gears. And I can't speak for every content creator. There's always going to be someone that wants to make it, and good on them. But for me, this is the last time I'm putting this sort of time into trying to provide feedback. If you want to act on it, act on it. If you don't, then don't. But don't just pretend to act on it until you release a new game, because that's actually disgusting to your community. Thanks for watching. I've annoyed myself with that now.